As Don tried to explain last week, sending teams started 16, 17 years ago, and it truly was like a grassroots effort where a few people saw the need, saw the vision through the Serving as Senders book, and the idea of sending teams just started rolling, really as kind of a grassroots, bottom-up effort. And in a way, we weren't prepared for the response that we got with 80 plus people wanting to be on teams. And so what we're trying to do as a staff is to wrap our arms around this effort and begin to give it a little bit of structure or organization that something this large needs. It needs to be more of a CBC-led ministry versus a grassroots effort. And that's what we're trying to do. And so through the surveys and evaluations, we've tried to restructure a little and get some expectations on paper and guidance. But another thing we've done during that time is we've seen where there are a few gaps or a few things that aren't getting done because there's not a point person for that. And that's where the next couple of segments come in. We found out that our missionaries need a representative. That is, all of our missionaries, they need somebody that they can go to if they have a need. Sometimes they don't want to go to the sending team or the sending team leader because they're embarrassed, or it's a little too sensitive. Or we need somebody that's kind of monitoring all of our missionaries. And so we've developed this position of missionary rep that's going to be in contact with the missionaries and be a go-between the missionaries and sending team leaders. Dawn is in that role, and she's going to share that. And then you'll hear about the sending team rep, which will mainly be the staff. And the sending team members and leaders will go to the staff and the office for those things. Wendy will explain that.
Okay, so as always, I feel like this is so exciting just to see this. I was talking, I don't know if you all have met Leslie and they're our new co-workers, so I don't remember his name. I know his name. Pete. He knows. Someone told me. Pete and Leslie Dirksen, new on staff. I was just saying to them, have you seen anything like this? You know, because they were in Papua New Guinea and Africa and stuff. And they were like, no. I said, imagine this if we would have had something like this on the field. We never had anything even close to this when we were on the mission field. We had churches, but nobody really ever wrote to us. Honest, they never did. They wanted to hear from us, but we never heard from anybody. So this is it's such an exciting thing. I've been so happy that I've been able to be on both sides of this. Being a missionary and having my wonderful team here, they are all my friends. So we've jumped all the way over that whole thing of being friends with your missionaries. So it's easy for us. But just like Ben said, for missionaries, sometimes it's very hard to, if you're not really close to your team, it's very hard to throw out ideas or thoughts or, I'm just so discouraged and I don't really know if you're not really close to them. It's very hard to do that. And over the years, I've done that with missionaries. I've asked them how it's going with their team straight up, and some of them told me some of the things. And so that's what my job only is going to be. So I'm very excited about that. I'm also excited about the idea, which I've been able to do sometimes too, is sometimes curb the expectations of the missionaries for the sending team. Because sometimes the expectations, I feel like, as a missionary, just are a little too high, because I know I'm here and I see everybody here and I see the teams and I know what some of the people are going through. Maybe it's a change of jobs, maybe their kids are having issues, maybe there's sickness or something like that. And it's very easy for missionaries sometimes to be like, I have the sending team and they're not doing anything for us, or they think. And so sometimes missionaries need to have a new idea of what's happening. We all have lives too, right? And we all have needs too. And so I'm very excited about that being kind of the liaison between the missionary and to you guys. And what else am I supposed to say about this? That's it.
Your contact information.
Oh, my contact information is right here. You guys know it. You know all that. Right? I'm done. See ya. My husband should take after me.
We took a shot.
Any questions? No. One thing that she'll be doing is encouraging our missionaries to be reaching out to. Encouraging our missionaries to be reaching out to you. We've talked about different situations that have come up. As she mentioned, she's encouraged missionaries to maybe curb their expectations, but also to be the other part of the relationship. So we are focusing solely today on our part of the relationship. Our part of the relationship is being organized, praying for them, reaching out to them financially, supporting if possible. And we've gone over these things that we as the senders are wanting to do and do better, but her role is going to be to encourage them to be the other 50% of the relationship. The phrase, it takes both in a relationship. Well, she's going to focus on that to help our missionaries better be the other part of the relationship. And especially for those that are overseas, it can be difficult to not know what's going on with all the different sending team members. We kept going back to on Alex and Elizabeth Miniam's team. There was a point when Mike and Audrey Bonner were walking through cancer with their daughter Marla. The Bonners are on the Miniam's team. That I just happened to, oh my goodness, I should let Elizabeth know that there's an appointment that the Bonners are having this week. And so I let her know that, just, hey, be praying for them. Probably the Bonners aren't going to be telling you, just because, you feel kind of like they're over there serving the Lord, and I'm not going to burden them with my problems. So that's the kind of stuff she's going to be doing, is kind of having a pulse on all of us here and letting our missionaries know if there's something that comes up that maybe they don't know about. Because just as much as maybe it's hard for us to know how to connect with the missionary, they also might feel that way as well, especially if they're not knowing, they're not as up to date on what's going on. So that's going to be her role. I'm really excited about that. I think that will help our missionaries, and it also will help, I think, facilitate that equal relationship. So I think that'll be very, very beneficial. Let me get through this really quick. We're going to run through our I had a little funny thing there. Our sending team rep really quickly. Putting a little GIF. So as Ben mentioned, Dawn will be her main role is going to be focusing on our missionaries and facilitating relationships with the missionaries as it pertains to the sending team, and also letting you guys know if there's something she knows about the missionary specifically that maybe you don't already. Maybe the missionary they've been struggling with the sending team, or they're not hearing from them. Maybe the missionary might tell her, and she will reach out to you and let you know that. Things like that. So everything else pertaining to sending teams specifically, so you guys here, that is what we're talking about when we talk about the sending team rep. So just a few things really quickly that will look like, and that will be the staff here in the office. So when we say sending team rep, that means the staff. And this is some of the things that the staff is going to be covering, just so you guys know if something comes up as it pertains to any of these things. That's the staff that you will go to, the sending team rep. So really quickly, we are going to be attempting to represent the sending teams to Dawn, the missionary rep, letting her know of anything, and also to the missions committee. So we will be in contact with the missions committee and Dawn as well of anything pertaining to sending teams. Maybe if someone gets off of a team, we want to let all the sending team members know on your team. We want to let the missionary rep know so she can talk to the missionary, those sort of things. We also will be organizing the Fifth Sunday, as we mentioned, and we'll be reaching out
to our leaders so that they are prepared for our Fifth Sundays as well. We'll also be communicating information to sending teams about our missionaries. So just like anything, especially with Ben being on staff and he is the missions director, there's a lot of times that he knows things that maybe some of us wouldn't know, and he knows it a little bit quicker, which will be very beneficial to let then you guys know as sending teams. So we'll be funneling information, especially as it pertains to you guys, sending teams, your role on the team, teamwork, organizing the Fifth Sundays, things like that. As I mentioned earlier about the Fifth Sunday, we also will be sharing just ways to practically improve our efforts. We want to give you regular ideas. I like hearing just different practical ideas of ways to do things. I listen to podcasts about it all the time. Just different practical ways to do maybe the thing that you've already been doing in a new way. So we want to do that. I'm going to say this, but I'm not promising it, but I want to do it. So, I mean, whatever that means to you. I would love for us to, once a month, send out just a very short practical idea that you could be doing as a team, either personally for your missionary or corporately as your team. So that's our goal. We want to regularly be giving you just some practical ideas on what you already might be doing. Maybe just doing it in a new way, or depending on the time of the year. Easter's coming up. Hey guys, Easter's in 2 weeks. Why don't you text your missionary and just tell them Happy Easter and ask them what their plans are for Easter. Things like that. So that's going to be some things we want to add to just encourage you guys to maybe, if you're like me, sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind. I don't know if you're that way. When our lives get busy, we all have lives. Like my mom was saying, we're all busy, and so sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind, and that we're all that way. We all have that tendency, and so we want to give you just quick little reminders so that they're not so out of sight and out of mind. We are going to also be attempting to regularly connect with the sending team leaders, and Ben will talk about more of that with the leaders, but as we've mentioned over and over, we want to try to regularly connect with you guys so that you aren't feeling lost or floundering. And one thing that Ben mentioned is the word accountability, and we want to do what we said we were going to do. And sometimes you just need reminded to do the thing that you said you were going to do, like working out. Oh, I said I was going to do that and I'm not doing it. But we don't like accountability when it comes to that. So we want to remind our leaders and our team members of their roles. We want to essentially, in a gracious way, keep you accountable. And we'll do that just through checking up with you periodically. So that's what the role as the staff is going to be. But that might beg the question, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for you guys? Because I think we're clear on what Dawn is doing. If this was a room full of missionaries, she would be doing the main talking to the missionaries, because her role is to the missionary of practically giving them ways that they can be in the relationship with the sending team and encouraging them to do X, Y, or Z. So the staff is that for all of us here as sending teams. So what would that look like for you practically? If you have a question pertaining to your sending team, if there's something that comes up, if there's a struggle, if you're unsure of how to proceed with a sending team situation of some kind, that comes up. Those kind of things come up. They do. If your team wants to host maybe a church sending team event, maybe Seth and Caitlin are coming home and you want to host something here. Now that doesn't mean you don't have all types of things with them outside of like the building, but maybe you don't know how to go about having an event here. If your team has a sending team idea that you haven't done before, no one's done before, and you're wondering, is this something we could do, or do you think this is going to work, or has anyone done this before? If your team needs something sent to the sending network, which is what we're going to talk about next, if maybe your missionary has a need for a new computer, they're going to start translating, and their computer died, they need a new computer, and you have a smaller sending team, or maybe a younger sending team, and you financially, oh man, we really want to do this for them, but maybe your team doesn't feel like you can carry that whole financial load yourself, but you know the need. All that type of stuff, you would contact the office. You contact the office, and we're going to do our best to help you with all those things. We will pass on that request to the sending network, which Chris will talk about. We will help you with your team situation or your question of an idea that you would like to have. That will come to the office. And we think that the three heads, three different minds, three different ideas and perspectives, especially with Ben on the mission committee, having that part of the connection with the mission committee, I think that it'll be very helpful for you to be able to contact the office for all that kind of stuff, especially with events, ideas of things to do at the church. We're able to help you know when that would best work, depending on the calendar and events that are going on, things like that, building use, all that kind of stuff. That is all what you would be contacting, what we're calling the sending team rep, but it's essentially the office, the staff. And we will be happy to help you with all those types of things. So just for you to have clarity moving forward, I know sometimes when you're here on Sunday, the thought comes to your mind of something with a sending team. And you might just think, oh, let me just go ask Dawn really quick, or let me just ask Chris really quick. A lot of times that isn't the best way to go about getting the information figured out. It's just too busy of a time on a Sunday. So on the paper, we have the contact information. Your best way to cover any sending team questions or issues or ideas, or anything related to this type of stuff, sending team related, your best way to communicate that and for us to help you is by contacting us in those two ways, and you can see it on the paper there. And so just to give you that clarity of the roles in which that we each will have and how you can then better get the help that you need. So as we mentioned just on the last one, the sending network, which we introduced last week, that would be mainly you guys. So that's not something a missionary would be reaching out to us about for the sending network. That's going to be you sending team members. You have an issue, a question, you need help, your missionary needs help with something that you can't provide, you'd let us know in the office. And then Chris will give a little bit more information of what that's going to look like for the sending network people. Yes, Wendy?
I was just curious if the phone numbers, are they all able to be texted to or not?
I think we have the office phone number, so you can't text the office number, but you can email us. But Dawn, you can text. Would you prefer a text?
I would.
I think everyone prefers a text. So yeah, the office number is not able to be texted.
All right, we're gonna get through this pretty quick, but we're excited about this idea of the sending network. So what you're looking at right now is how we are structured presently. We have the missionary on the field, that's the big white snowball up there, and then the little sending teams with the little gray, the dirty snowballs up there. So anytime there's an issue with the missionary, it goes directly to the sending team, and usually the sending team is the ones who tries to figure out how to help their missionary or communicate with their missionary. But we're excited about this next idea of the sending team network. And who's on the Sending Team Network? Who signed up for that? Hands up. Wendy. Who else? Anybody over here? You're signing up for the Sending Team Network? And Karen? Okay, all right. So, thank you guys for your willingness to do that. Basically, what happens is if there is some need, like Wendy was saying, if there's some financial need that the sending team just can't help with, I mean, there's just some huge financial need, what the sending team will do is get a hold of the office. And so one of us here will be the go-between between the missionary, the sending team, and then the sending team network. That's all you guys down there. And then you guys are willing to do things like you're on call for, let's see if I have this up here. So some various temporary seasonal needs. When able to, you'd be willing to help clean the missions house. Now, we're not saying that you'll do that every time. If the sending team just can't get to it, we're going to ask for help in that regard. Helping with sending team events. Wendy had mentioned that maybe a missionary's home and we want to have a brunch or something for them, just to be able to help us with that event. Let's see, what else? Willing to help with the Fifth Sunday sending team event. That doesn't mean you have to stay, but if you could help us get set up, maybe coordinate if we're going to have a little bit of a brunch or something, but just help us to try to, get that incorporated into our Fifth Sunday. If a missionary's in and we're wanting to do some meals, especially at the beginning, just as they're starting to acclimate and get back into living here in the States again, willing to help with rides to and from the airport or any other type need like that. I know the Clemens are offering to help out with a vehicle when Seth and Caitlin come in, so that's pretty cool that they're actually, Seth and Caitlin are going to be going to Florida, and Wendy and Steve are going to go to Florida for a little time away, but they're also going to be able to provide a car for them to be able to come back. So that's a really huge way of helping. And then also just the sending network stays engaged with missions and missionaries, just keeping your ear to the ground about, oh man, hey, there's something coming up, whether it's a Fifth Sunday or an event or something, just kind of being aware that that's going to be happening, and is there a way for me to jump in and help with that? So like just like a meal train for the missionary gets sent to the network, missions house needs cleaned, an airport pickup. This is just an overview, but just kind of focusing in on those things that maybe you're good at. Maybe you like making meals. Maybe you like driving 3 hours to Philly and back. That's not me. So just keeping your ear to the ground, keeping your finger on the pulse of what's happening. And another way to do that is, checking out our CBC Missions Facebook page. Things are being posted there all the time, and that's a good way to kind of know what's going on. So, and I think that's it.